Hey, Broncos country. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network and, of course, sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. We'll talk more about both of those a little bit later, man, but we're in here. We're wrapping a bow up on, Week 18, this regular season, this Denver Broncos team that maybe just outlived a few expectations, man. My name is Keith Brugman. I'm not going to be alone. First and foremost, I got to say, the posse, that's you, everybody watching, listening, subscribing, in the comments. You're along for the ride. But like I said, I'm not alone. I'm going to say hello to my good friend, Mr. Trevor Rocket Man Salzman. How you doing, Trevor?
Doing well, Keith. We're it's playoff time, and this is what we want to do. We want to be covering this team in the playoffs, and I'm glad we're not talking about the offseason quite yet. Although there's some interviews being put out there, requests from other teams being put out there, which is a good thing for the Broncos, of course. But excited to start covering this team in the playoffs, and can't wait for what's in store on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all going to be looking forward. It's going to be tough not to look forward. We're going to try to put a bow on this season. We're going to try to talk about this Week 18 matchup versus the Chiefs. Me and Trevor aren't alone either. You see him. He's right down there on the bottom of the screen. Mr. Mile High Albert Dutchy. How you doing, Albert?
I'm doing great. We can take all the lotions away because we are no longer in a drought. So the drought is over. So the dry hands and stuff, it's all done now. And let's have a wonderful game coming up and enjoy the moment and celebrate it because it is deserving, and how we did it.
Yeah. Right there. We'll just end right there. How we did it. Yes. We'll be talking more about exactly how we did it, man. But I want to talk about the posse. That's all of you in the comments coming in here, talking with us, giving us an amazing season. Denver Bronco football with all your comments, all your questions, all your interactions. People like Ernie Mays coming in here and saying, go Broncos country only. Bo Nix for 6. Hello, Keith and friends. Beat the Bills this Sunday, man. We're already looking forward. Mr. Patrick Wiltsey. This is Mr. Lion Coffee Patrick Wiltsey. This is vanilla macadamia nuts. If you love coffee, check out Lion Coffee. But he's just coming in here, being a friend, being a supporter, being a posse member, saying aloha, playoff horseman. And Mr. Michael Ronquillo, I'm going to jump over and have to probably check this out on another channel off to the side to make sure I'm getting all the comments, all the stars in. But he's coming in saying, good evening, Keith, Albert, Trevor, go Bo Broncos. Good to see you, Michael, the Ronk himself, coming in here. Been rocking with us forever. Mr. Paul coming in on YouTube saying hello, and hello to you, Mr. Paul. And Kenny Kirkpatrick of the amazing K&K Sports Show coming in and saying, good evening, DVR. Dutchy, Brugman, and the Rocket Man. Let's go, Broncos. Let's go, Kenny, the stepfather himself, man. I'm glad we have you along for the ride. I know that your Giants didn't necessarily pan out to what we hoped for this season for you, but come along with us, man. He's the stepfather. He's over on there in the K&K Sports Show. You guys need to check out what they're doing over there. Lots of sports, lots of basketball, baseball, football, you name it. They got it going on. Our good friend Phil McLaughlin, guys, coming in saying, good evening, Keith, Rocket Man, and Dutchy. Playoffs, keys to beating the Bills. Everyone's jumping ahead, man. We'll be getting into more keys of beating the Bills on Friday as we do our pregame warm-up. Hey, fellas, playoffs. And yeah, so happy for all of Broncos country. Let's go. Phil also dropping 200 stars when he came in, gentlemen. I'm going to double check the other channel, but my guess is Michael Ronquillo might have blessed us as well. That being said, we got to get into this game, man. It was funny. Albert, he was on here first. He said, man, I had this game predicted not quite right. I'm like, neither did I. And he says, well, what was Trevor's? And so Trevor will be able to give his prediction as well. But I was nervous heading into this game, guys. There was something about them just being the Chiefs. There was something about us needing this game. There was something about those second stringers maybe coming up and playing their hearts out and having something to prove against this Denver Broncos team that had me kind of shaking in my boots, man. I'll be honest, I was like this close to predicting a loss, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for our Denver Broncos. I gave them a slim prediction of a 24-20 win. I'm going to go to Trevor first because I know that's the one that we didn't have on the top of our minds, me and Albert, as we were talking backstage before Trevor joined. Trevor, what was your prediction? Because I remember you were pretty high on the outcome of this game.
27-17. That was my final score prediction.
27-17. So looking pretty good. Looking like we kind of handled our business in general and getting that win. And then Albert, share what your prediction was, sir.
24-7.
24-7. The closest prediction that we had. None of us saw this 38-0 victory that ended up pulling out an amazing win for the Denver Broncos and a playoff berth in the end as well. Like I said, I just wanted to go over this game, man, because I think this was you can push back if you want to. Either one of you. I'll go to Albert first. Albert, I think this was the best play calling that Sean Payton had done. The best play calling, obviously, that Vance Joseph probably has done as well, pitching a shutout. Was this, in your opinion, the best coaching that you'd seen from these two coaches?
The score would have been 24-7 with the starters for the Chiefs. This was one heck of a game, and it was fun to watch. And indeed, there was so much trickery in there with those plays. It was fun to watch, and pretty much all executed to the letter.
Yeah. It was well executed on both sides. You started even on that first series, Trevor. A good run pass option to begin with. Javonte with a good run. I think that's an unspoken hero of this game, quite honestly. But speaking to what Albert was just saying, we have a trick double reverse Mims touchdown. That starts us off, man. That just, I think that not only started off the team, but it started off the crowd. It got everybody involved and excited about what was going to happen in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I kudos to Sean Payton for being creative. It seems like, and I don't really understand why this is, but because he did it against Carolina too, and the Panthers came to town. He came to Denver. He ended up being pretty creative there too. And then the Chiefs came in with the second stringers, and he was more creative than we've seen him in a while. So, yeah, I'm not sure why it's against the teams maybe that are not up to par, just say, for that given game. I'm not sure why that is, but I would love to see it more in the playoffs. I mean, lay it out on the line and be creative. I don't see why you wouldn't be. I thought he did a great job. Great job starting the game off, being creative against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Phil's coming in here. He's also dropping another stars. He's just saying, what I really enjoyed was seeing Peyton open it up with Bo. Got to do the same this upcoming week versus the Bills. We didn't have to wait that long, man. It was a second series, man. All of a sudden we were up against it. We were fourth down, and I don't know if you guys noticed it. I'm sure Broncos country's noticed it. This new fourth down sneak. This it seems like we're almost pretending like we're not going to go for it. We're just trying to get him to be called offside with the way that the cadence was from one Bo Nix. We utilized that multiple times throughout this game, but that was a big fourth down conversion on our own 38, 39 yard line. Albert, again, putting it all on the line, making sure that you're doing it. That was a huge turning point right there.
Yeah, and this means that Peyton trusts his offense. He trusts his offense that he can get it done. And we saw it at least 3 times happening, the sneak. And so he believes in this offense, and the opposite too. The players believe in Sean Payton and what he is doing. And I think this is the most opportunistic team we have seen in a long, long time. I think the atmosphere is even better than when Peyton Manning was here. I think the whole atmosphere is completely different. You can see it with all the players. It looks like they are having fun.
Yeah.
And in the time with Peyton Manning, there were a lot of players who were not having fun. But here it is totally different.
Yeah, no, it has been. It's been culture changing. It's been culture changing. But that Knicks 4th down conversion, that was almost culture changing in itself, man. That was a time and a place where, no one expected it. You're backed up, nothing in the analytics says go for it here, Trevor. They go for it, they get the first down, and then we saw one of the largest pieces towards, a Sutton bonus with a 47-yard 47-yard catch, throw and completion. Let me just put it that way. Throw and completion to one Cortland Sutton on the very next play, man. Came out of that sneak and just pushed it way downfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just goes to show how important that sneak was. And I think it helps and credit to Sean Payton for doing this as well. Noticing and understanding what the personnel on the other side of the ball was for Kansas City. Remember, Chris Jones wasn't in this game; he didn't play in this game. So right there, that just makes the game a lot easier and makes you being able to kind of your offensive line push. Get a push up front. So I thought that's something this Broncos offensive line did well all game. Where they really won their matchups up front, and it was huge for Bo Nix. Protection in the pocket. Bo Nix being able to get out and run, and even Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin and even Estimate getting some runs out in there, sneaking some runs in there. So, kudos to the Broncos offensive line for just doing their jobs and dominating up front.
Yeah, absolutely, man. 2 plays later, we put up a touchdown, man. That third series, we go out there. It was a mix of a lot of different things. We had a huge Bo Nix scramble. Bo Nix was unleashed in this game to go ahead out there and use his legs when necessary. 4th down conversion sneak again by one Bo Nix. Williams, again, big pass from Williams that he actually ended up taking all the way up the sideline, and then the double deflect touchdown to put us up 21-0 in this game, man. It was at this point, it's starting to feel like a route and like everything is going our way, Albert. The double deflection in the back of the end zone in order to come down with the touchdown, an amazing touchdown, quite honestly, by Vele, I believe it was, wasn't it? Or no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
By Vele in the very end. Yeah, to get his knee down. Everything is going right at that point, man.
And I think one of the referees had also the longest explanation of the year about a penalty.
Which penalty?
The one with the forward pass.
Bo Nix's forward pass.
Yeah, the forward pass. That's right.
There was about a minute explanation of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we broke all kinds of records this season.
There you are, man. Just to pile on at the very end, man. Again, the Chiefs go out there, they push it a little bit downfield, but in the end, they end up missing a field goal. We get it back with just a minute 2 left. Huge scramble by Bo Nix, but with that illegal forward pass that you were talking about, he was did that at the 30-yard line, got us down to the 10-yard line with Javonte Williams, but lo and behold, with the penalty, we're backed all the way back up to the 37-yard line. Still end up getting points out of that. Sutton with a big catch in order to get us into position in order to do that, Trevor. And next thing you know, it's 24-0 at halftime.
Yeah, 24-0 at halftime, and you're in complete control. On that Bo Nix run, you would like to have seen him just kind of slide and take the yards that was in front of him. I know he tried to make a pretty big play, out of that play. But sometimes it's better not to get too cute with it and just take the yards that are in front of you. So just a learning experience for Bo Nix going forward. But yeah, like you said, Keith, you're going to mention even more continuing throughout this game. Cortland Sutton, having a big game, 5 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown. So first time he's reached 1,000 yards in the season since 2019. So absolutely huge for Cortland Sutton, and you love to see Cortland Sutton continued to help out the Broncos quarterback situation, because you remember last year with Russell Wilson, the 10 touchdowns that he caught last year. Now you have it, this year with Bo Nix. So Cortland Sutton being able to adjust to quarterbacks the last couple of years is absolutely huge. And Cortland Sutton coming back this year for the Broncos was absolutely huge for Bo Nix's development going forward.
Oh boy. If you were on like starting to put that bow on the season, like we started talking about at the very beginning, Trevor, you're absolutely right, man. When you start looking at key pieces and parts that end up being, vital to this team, when you start talking about the offensive side of the ball, obviously we knew that we had Bo Nix, but to ensure that we had Cortland Sutton to go out there and up the ante a little bit when we had a little bit of trouble in the preseason, that was key. Honestly, I always hate when there's this money holdout, and the, possibility of them not being in shape or not being dedicated or possible injuries. Cortland Sutton put all that to bed, man. He went out there and he put on a fantastic season. He's been there for his quarterback. And, it's been one of those things that, we can almost rely upon game in, game out, that there's going to be a key reception by Cortland Sutton from one Bo Nix, man. Great call out right there, man. It's crazy, man. We go out there in the third quarter, guys, and believe it or not, we go out there and we end up punting on our first series, so that we end up having the ball. But don't worry, it was surrounded by the Chiefs, basically going 3 and out, 1 first down when they first came out. But then big sack by Franklin Myers and Benito. And then the next series, they go 3 and out. And next thing you know, we're right on the field again. We're marching down the fields. Big runs by Javonte Williams at 25 yards. McLaughlin seemed like he was struggling a little bit more, but a big completion by Devon Bailey as well. A swing pass to one Marvin Mims is what gives us that touchdown, and really ends up, again, now we're up 31-0. Things are just rolling. That was a key. I felt that was still key during that point, even though we're up 24-0. Kind of put it to bed, Albert. At 31-0, it was all done.
Yeah, it was done. And talking about bonuses, Franklin Myers did get his bonus as well.
Yeah.
If we would get 7 sacks for the season, and it almost got nullified by the half sack by Benito. But yeah, I think they awarded him the reward. So it's good to see what they do for the players, and it is good to see both sides are having fun and enjoying and celebrating on both sides. If the defense makes a big stop, you see the offense on the sideline jumping for joy, and it is reversed. And I think that's where it all started. That the players are having fun. It is a well-balanced team.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that could improve, I think, in my opinion, is the run offense. That needs to improve a little bit more. But other than that, I think this is a team that for the next couple of years is going to be a force to reckon with.
I agree. Travis Johnson just kind of coming in. He's talking about running backs, and it's kind of a great segue as well. He's saying Estime needs 12 to 15 carries. Why are we seeing Javonte when we all know he will not be on the 25 roster? McLaughlin, Estime need the reps. Javonte had a great game. I felt left, right, and otherwise, man. He was running very well. He picked up a key block down in the red zone. Javonte had a game, and you need all your guys. But that being said, the very last touchdown that we put on the board, big completion to little Jordan Humphreys. We end up running the ball, and to the point that Estime was the final carry, getting the last touchdown of the game. We end up going 38-0 at that point, and then pretty much that was a wash of the game, guys. A little bit of running, a little bit of punting, a little bit of kneeling, but that was pretty much the end of the game. But again, getting back, that was kind of nice to see for me. We, in the last couple of series that we saw from the Denver Broncos, there was a heavy, heavy emphasis on the run game, Trevor, whether it was McLaughlin, whether it was Estime, whether it was Javonte. They end up, and the Chiefs knew it, we were going to be running the ball, especially near the end of the game there, just to go ahead and kill some clock and get some time. But we kept getting yards, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Jaleel McLaughlin leading this team in carries once again. He had 16 carries, 39 yards. And then Otter Kesame had 12 carries and 34 yards. Javonte Williams had 5 carries and 28 yards. So, I mean, it was really more or less just not one or two running backs getting involved. Every single running back that was active on game day was getting involved. So that's great to see. And hopefully it carries, going forward. And it can only grow going forward into the playoffs because you're going to need a run game. Try to keep Josh Allen off the field. Yeah.
Now, I've been sitting here, I've been talking. There's only one real person I've been really rallying, and that's been one Javonte Williams. I felt like he had, like I said, a fantastic game. He went out there, kind of an unsung hero of the game, I guess you could say. But we got to need to talk about some of the heroes of the game. Albert, just one name. Give me one name of a hero on this team in this 38-0 blowout.
I would say Benito. He was a game record there. He was all over the place. He was blocking. He was rushing. He did it all out there on defense, and he was part of the problem that the Chiefs could not do anything.
Yep,
Benito.
I agree. Nick Benito had a game, man. He was back there sharing sacks, getting some of his own, putting a lot of pressure on. Nick Benito had a fantastic game. Flip it back over to you, Trevor. Anybody that sticks out in your mind that might have had a good game in this matchup?
Albert stole my first option, so I'm going to go with the second best option, Bo Nix. I mean, 26.
Second best? Okay, that's all. Well, go ahead. That's all right.
Okay, first best on offense, second best total, however you want to categorize it. But Bo Nix, I mean, he was just fantastic today. Sunday, not today. Today we're talking about it. 26 for 29, 321 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how else you can kind of shy away from that. Bo Nix was just fantastic in this game, using his feet as well. I mean, led this team in rushing yards as well, with 47 rushing yards and seven carries. So, I mean, Bo Nix did it all offensively. He wasn't just unlocked in the passing game. He was also unlocked using his feet, and something you love to see. And that's one of my favorite things about Bo Nix is, he can use his arm, but he can also use his legs, and is very mobile. And Sean Payton talked about that a lot, maybe that they didn't really see during the draft process was, Bo Nix's athletic ability to use his feet. And so I'd love to see that's just an added bonus on top of what Bo Nix has been able to do this season for the Broncos.
Kurt Valente of the amazing K&K Sports Show saying, boys, we got a special one in number 10. I had to throw that up. I was expecting Mile High Dutchie was going to go ahead and give me the number 10, and I'd be able to get to Kurt's comment a little bit earlier, but we got to it. Trevor coming in with that one. I'll give a shout out here. Not only to Kurt Valente and the amazing K&K Sports Show, but got to give a shout out, I think, to one number 19, one Mr. Marvin Mims. This is a guy that was relied upon a lot. There was a lot of man coverage in this game from Kansas City, and because of that, there was a lot of swing passes that we utilized one Marvin Mims with. This is a guy that's been a key piece to this offense, and we keep integrating him more and more and in different ways. And obviously he got the touchdown as well. Marvin Mims is a key piece to this offense now come the end of the season. And that's good to hear. And that's good to see. That's something that was definitely needed. So I got to give my flowers, my shout outs to one Mr. Marvin Mims. Go around the horn one more time. I'll go around the horn to the posse first. Phil McLaughlin says, give it up for Peyton. One Mr. Sean Payton as well. And we kind of did at the very beginning, Phil, but you're absolutely right, man. Well-called game, stem to stern. Sean Payton went out there, and I can only think of one time that I thought that we could have done a little bit better as far as a play calling perspective or time management coaching perspective was concerned. Outside of that, a fantastic game called on both sides. Albert, any more flowers to give out on this game?
Yeah, you have to give it to the offensive line.
Mhm.
Bo had the time and the openings to do whatever he could do. Those passes would not have been as accurate without this offensive line, because he had the time to throw them, and they were accurate. And how often did he get pressured? A couple times. That's about it. Offensive line.
O-line, man. O-line looked good. Ben Powers was out there pulling, looking good, throwing blocks. Honestly, I know that there's been a lot of praise for one Mr. Quinn Miners, but I think Quinn Miners had probably one of his better games in this game as well.
Yeah, he pancaked somebody.
Whenever even beyond the pancake blocks, man. NFL's not trying to sell you food. Pancake blocks. Trevor, I thought they did it, going away from Albert and his great call out on the offensive line. I think they thought they did a great job. I got 2. Albert's got 2. Do you have a second one they need to call out on this one? Game?
If we're going to give Sean Payton his flowers, we need to give Vance Joseph his flowers too. I mean, 38-0, talking about a complete shutout. Vance Joseph he's done such an unbelievable job with this defense this year. Now this team was 7th in yards given up this year and 3rd in points given up this year. That's a top 10 defense for your Denver Broncos. That is something to be excited about. And there's a reason why he is getting interviews around the league, and it's great to see VJ, just deliver, come back to Denver when he didn't have to. And Sean Payton, kudos to Sean Payton for sticking with VJ for this long, and it's paid off, and it's paid off big time.
Absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. I was searching through the the comments. I had one all lined up, and then all of a sudden it flipped on me, man. Don't you hate when that happens? Anyway, I got Mr. David McElrath, longtime Bronco fan, first-time listener. David, welcome to the posse, man. Good to see you in the comments. I'm so glad you're along for the ride, man. Can't wait to get your comments, your thoughts. You're part of the posse now, along with a lot of other good friends. We've had Pearl in here. Pearl's coming in here. Pearl's back on Facebook. She's on YouTube. She's coming in here and saying hello a little bit earlier as well. Travis Johnson, welcome in. Don't have a comment that's necessarily appropriate for just saying hello right up on the screen from you, but Big E Bronco saying, I hope everyone's having a good night, man. It's tough not to have a good night when the Denver Broncos are headed to the playoffs in the 2025 playoffs in the 2024-2025 season, man. Michael Ronquillo, as long as we're kind of handing out flowers and game balls, the Denver Broncos ownership group got a game ball from Broncos head coach Sean Payton as well. And that is something to be said, man. I think we all collectively agree. We do have a great ownership group. You can look across the NFL landscape. You can look out there and you can see great owners. You can see crazy owners. You can see bad owners. You can see broke owners. We're not in a position to be sitting there and have anything to necessarily talk badly about. Our ownership group has come in here and they've given the keys and opened up the briefcases and made sure that our players are well taken care of with facilities and fields. Good call out, Michael Ronquillo. This ownership group and Sean Payton needs to get some flowers, needed to get that game ball as well. Anything else on that, Trevor? I'm sorry, I was going to say Albert first. So,
yeah, the ownership, this group of owners that we have, they believe in the Broncos and they put their money where the talk is. New fields when needed. Giving the bonus out, even if it is not quite there yet, but they do it, and they stand behind what they say, and it is well orchestrated over there in the Broncos. Great environment to be in.
Yeah, great culture. The ownership had, I think, a lot to do with that as well. Trevor, any final words on that, I guess, piece there?
Well, I mean, you guys did a great job explaining it, but I mean, Sean Payton, giving these guys game balls is huge. But a big reason why Sean Payton came here is because of the ownership group, and he came out and said it, and I 100% agree with him. This ownership group has backed him up every step of the way, whether it was eating $86 million with Russell Wilson's dead cap, and then believing in him to and approving him to draft Bo Nix. I think that this ownership group's done such a great job, and I think this is it starts with ownership around in any sport, any team, any organization. Ownership is a big part of the success, and it starts at the top. This ownership group is determined to help this team get back to its winning ways, and that their patience with Sean Payton and George Payton when they didn't have to be. You're starting to see these other teams around the league, fire their head coaches after a year and whatnot, and a lot of turnover. So patience, I think, pays off eventually, and you have the right guys, I think, in place, and ownership group just one of the best ownership groups in all of football and all of sports, honestly, in my opinion.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Lux Ace is coming in here, brand new face over there on YouTube, asking, do you believe? I'll tell you what, one thing I do believe, as I believe, as Albert shows off his 10 jersey, I believe in Morgan Trinkets, man. Morgan Trinkets is our amazing sponsor. If you're looking for a headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, estate gold at wholesale prices, I'm telling you what, I found it. It's Morgan Trinkets with over 34 years experience in the business. They know how to get it done, man. Once a nationwide company, now they're just in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. They're doing tours and shows all summer long, all fall long, all winter long. If there's a gem, mineral show, anything like that, county fairgrounds having a show, I guarantee you're probably out there getting it all taken care of. Pearl's amazing. She has an amazing site over on Etsy. It's Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. Check out Morgan Trinkets. Again, all your Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, estate gold at wholesale prices. Any purchase over $50, shipped absolutely free. All major credit cards accepted. And if you're looking for silver, all 100% sterling silver, she's got it as well. Check out Morgan Trinkets, Morgan Trinkets Co. over on Etsy today. Man, I don't know if we'll be able to get away from all the talk of what's all the talk of the next game, guys. But like I said, I do want to put maybe a bow Nix on this season a little bit, and just talk about where we came from to where we went, man. We went from that 31st ranked team. We went from PFN saying we're going to have the number one pick in the draft. This team has shown a lot over this season. Albert, if you were going to kind of go through, define this season from where we started to where we ended up, how would you define it? How would you explain it?
From the laughing stock to be the laughers. That is pretty much what we are. We were, nobody took us for serious. And what was the prediction? Maximum 5.5 games win, according to the Las Vegas betting gurus.
Yep.
And so now we are in the playoffs. And I truly believe we are not done. I think we can go further than we are. I was a little bit optimistic with our predictions early on in the year. I think I had 13-4. But if those one score games were different, we would have been 15-1 or 15-2. So yeah, those we had a couple games that were really close. The blocked field goal with the Chiefs last week against the Bengals. This is a team that a lot of people are going to be afraid of to play next year. Sean Payton said it will take me 3 years to get me a playoff team. Well, we're already ahead of the game. Next year, Super Bowl should be the goal. I know it is the goal every year that you play, but this year our record was to have a winning season. We already beat that by game 13 if I'm not mistaken, game 13 or 14. And now we are in the playoffs. So we are ahead of the game. So play the Super Bowl next year should be the minimum.
So from being laughed at to being the laughing stock to be able to laugh all the way to the bank, Albert loves the way that this season's turned around, and a great way to put it, man. Because again, underestimated, and quite honestly, I don't know, maybe put down just a little bit, and boy, whether it was bulletin board material or you name it, the Broncos certainly went out there and they performed to a higher level. Trevor, how would you explain, put a little synopsis on this season, man? Because it's been a wild one. It's been one that we all didn't know really what to expect and had to make changes throughout in order to realign ourselves, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be the first one to eat my crow here. I thought this team was a 7-10 team. I really did. And I don't think that, I mean, at first glance, I don't think that, a lot of people would blame me for that because there was a lot of turnaround. I mean, you're losing your starting quarterback, you're losing one of your starting wide receivers, one of your starting safeties. I mean, one of your starting inside linebackers, and you can name it from this past off season that, there's reasons why this team may not make the playoffs. So, it's amazing though. That's what we want is when we're setting these expectations for this team, you're wanting them to, beat those expectations. And this team definitely did that this season. I mean, I don't think it's just about this season. I mean, look at the growth of Bo Nix. Look at the growth from this defense and the stars you're starting to see come aligned. I mean, Nick Bonito finishing with 13 and a half sacks, this season, and on his way to a Pro Bowl. Jonathan Cooper, 10 and a half sacks this year. Zach Allen, 8.5 sacks this year. Cortland Sutton reaching that 1,000-yard mark finally for the first time since 2019. I mean, there's so many milestones from player to player that you've reached that have added up to where this team is at now. So, you went from, people talking about this team rebuilding to the retool, and the retool is on the right path. And, I think this team is definitely on the right path going forward. No matter what happens against the Bills, it doesn't matter because this team will have more flexibility in the offseason to improve themselves even more so and take care of their own players as well. But you have something to look forward to. While these other teams are still trying to search for quarterbacks, you have a quarterback that you can look forward to that's continuing to grow each and every game and each and every year going forward.
Yeah. If I had to put one word on this team, on this season, selfless. Not to speak bad about any other teams or anybody else. We don't have a Tyreek Hill on this team. We don't have anybody that's looking for a new place, needs more balls, needs to see more receptions. I want a new spot. Whether it's a running back by committee, whether it's wide receivers that have ranged from little Jordan Humphreys to Troy Franklin to Marvin Mims to Cortland Sutton to Devon Vele to heck, on National Tight End Day, almost every tight end getting involved and Lucas Kroll having to take a back seat as of late. I mean, nobody is out there complaining and selflessly have went through this season and just try to, put it all out on the line every single game. Doesn't matter if it's a Zach Allen and Nick Bonito, any of these guys, a PS2, none of these guys complaining, none of these guys with a crossword, all of them bought in a selfless effort that has really put together this team, really put together this season, and really put together an opportunity for us to be talking about next Sunday and the playoffs and the Buffalo Bills and all of that. I just love the mentality. I started off the season saying, I think there's something special. I think that Broncos country is going to get excited or have reason to be excited. And man, boy, the dat not disappoint, man. I don't know if I ever expected this. I just expected us to have something that we thought we could build from for the first time in a long time. And boy, outperformed my expectations, and we certainly have something to build on. Yeah, no divas allowed, says one Mr. Scott. So he's agreeing with me. There was one other comment I wanted to get to. One, Lux Ace was at that game on Sunday, which what a game to suit up and go to, man. The throwback unis, the Chiefs, the final game of the season, got to get in the playoffs, 38-0 blowout. I can't imagine what that place was like throughout that game and at the end of the game. Congratulations, Lux Ace. So that's a heck of a place to be. I want to get to Travis's comment, man, because we've had quite a few comments, but this is one that almost hit home to me because I kind of felt this way as well. Trevor, I'll go to you first on this. Travis is saying, is it me? Or does Bo Nix remind you of a Tim Tebow that can actually throw?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Tebow was more thicker framed than Bo, but I don't know. I don't like that comparison too much because I think Bo Nix is, I feel a lot better about Bo Nix's ceiling than I did Tim Tebow. So I understand the question and the comparison for sure, but no, I mean, I think Bo Nix is his own player, and I think there's just a different mindset about Bo Nix going forward. I mean, you talk about the culture. I mean, does a lot of that start with Bo Nix? I mean, just how tough and strong he is, and I mean, talking back to his coach when his coach is, trying to tell him something on the sideline in a good way. Obviously, when we seen a year ago with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton on the sideline. Obviously, it wasn't. It was only one-sided. It was Sean Payton yelling at Russell Wilson and not chirping back. So you just the toughness that Bo Nix has, and he's so smart. I mean, he's just being able to pick up this offense. Sean Payton's offense is huge. I mean, this offense is not very easy to learn, and Bo Nix has been able to pick it up as the weeks go on, as the season progresses, and so. From an IQ standpoint, nothing against Tebow. Tebow's smart too. Not saying that he's not. I'm just saying Bo Nix is just like, man, he's on a different level. Being able to comprehend and be able to do what he needs to do to relay that message back to the players in the huddle. And so I think Bo Nix, just IQ wise, is just it's big time. I mean, and the potential there. And so I understand the comparison, but I think the Bo Nix is definitely. On the uprising a lot more and has more upside than I think Tebow had at the time.
Big E Broncos doesn't like the Tim Tebow comparison, but he likes a Jake Plummer when he played for the Arizona Cardinals type of comparison. Good old Jake the Snake that used to do quite a bit of scrambling, and boy, could that guy, and he wanted to, and Arizona lined him up just to wing it down the field for those big plays. Something that we have seen a little bit from one Bo Nix as well. But I'll tell you what, Albert, just your thoughts, man. Bo Nix comes in. We talked about at the very beginning of the season, very beginning of the year, rookie quarterbacks. They're trying to get in there. They're trying to get their feet wet, trying to get into the NFL, and trying to, like as Trevor kind of said, pick up that playbook and be competitive in a rookie year. That's tough to do. One Mr. Bo Nix seemed like he certainly checked all the boxes, especially as the season went on.
But not only that, we should also call him Santa.
Oh,
because we have 11 players that have a touchdown, receiving touchdown, including himself. So he is spreading it to not just one or two people. He's spreading it all over. We have 6 players with more than 200 passing yards. Of course, that includes Cortland Sutton with over 1,000.
Oh, 200 passing yards received. You gotcha.
Yeah, just receiving yards. And then we have a whole bunch more that have less than 200. But yeah, it is not just one person that he is focusing on. He is spreading it everywhere he can, where he sees the opening, where he sees it fit. That's where the ball goes. I think he is so far ahead of so many other quarterbacks. Yeah, I think we have not seen the maximum of Bo Nix yet. I think we are just scratching the surface.
I think that will be interesting as time goes by. It will be interesting to see, I guess, as we kind of wrap up towards the end of the show, what he's able to put together for not just next season, but these next few games. Hopefully these next few games. Trevor, we saw a complete unleashing in this game. We saw from 4th down conversions to Bo Nix scrambling at a higher level to it just seemed like, everything was just go out there and win. Just not to quote the old Raiders, Al Davis, but just win, baby. It just felt like that was the mentality that we went out there and we had and we performed. I think that's more of what we're going to have to see in these coming weeks if we're going to go ahead and maintain. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, 100% agree, Keith. I mean, you're talking about facing some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and you're going to face that, in Buffalo against Josh Allen. And so the best way to beat Josh Allen is not necessarily just defensively, but it's also trying to keep him off the field. And that means your offense has to be able to move the football. When Denver has struggled against Cincinnati or against Ravens, their offense has not been able to stay on the field, and that means Burrow, that means Lamar Jackson are on the field more. So that puts your defense in a much more difficult spot. So this offense is going to have to move the football, and Bo Nix is going to be a big reason for that. He's going to have to be, Bo Nix is going to have to be even better than he was against KC. If the Broncos are going to be able to have a chance to advance and going on into the playoffs, and as you get further and further, the tougher the matchup comes up. So Bo Nix is going to be huge for the Broncos, and it's going to be interesting. It's a new challenge for Bo Nix going into Buffalo on the road, your rookie season, and facing one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and trying to outperform expectations and trying to lead this team to victory.
Yeah, absolutely, man. One other piece I wanted to get to, man. We talked about all the different players and the mentality and everything else. These coaches really came around. They were a big part of what got us this team here. But now, because this team is maybe exceeding expectations, we have guys like one Mr. Vance Joseph that's getting coaching calls. Albert, Chicago Bears are calling on one Vance Joseph. What are your thoughts on Vance Joseph? Do you think, from his standpoint, should he stay another year? Should he go out there and start looking at these opportunities to get the head coaching position? And do you think he's worthy of going out there and securing a head coaching job this next season? What are your thoughts, Albert?
My thoughts are the same as in the beginning of the year. I think head coach for VJ is too much for him. He has to keep so much track of so many items, and I think that's what happened with the Broncos when he was with the Broncos as a head coach. I think he cannot handle that. No, he is a defensive coach. He only has to focus on one area pretty much of the game, and he is doing that pretty well, as we have seen. But at some points, he is also miscuing, and so he still has room to grow. So to play a more constant game, because we have not seen that the last 3 or 4 weeks. We have seen some holes in it. So I don't think VJ is ready for the next coaching job. But if he gets one, well, kudos to him, and hopefully he will succeed.
Very good. Not ready. Maybe he goes out there, he tests the waters, but and we fully support him. Obviously, he's been a big leader of this defense. There's another guy, Trevor, though, that has an amazing collegiate background, in my opinion, and that's one David Shaw that happens to be on this staff as well. He's getting calls, which, man, you think all the coaching staff that's usually really involved, with the team. David Shaw doesn't necessarily sit there with the team. He has a little bit more of an upper office type of position. But David Shaw getting calls. What are your thoughts on that, buddy?
Yeah, and quickly, I mean, with Vance Joseph, it's going to be. He also has an interview with the Jets, and I do expect him. Right. I do expect him to have more other interviews as well, possibly interviewing for the Raiders job too. So we shall see it. That if that gets confirmed, but I think that they will probably look at him as well. But with David Shaw, I mean, senior personnel executive for the Broncos, obviously hired in the offseason, a big part of what they're doing in their front office right now, getting interviews with the Saints and now the Bears. So, I just think that, these two guys in particular, it just goes to show that, how the Broncos are perceived around the NFL. And these guys are starting to get those interviews and starting to get that recognition they deserve. You win, your guys on your staff are going to start getting recognition for it. I think that bodes well for Davis Webb, quarterback coach for the Broncos, obviously, in the future for getting future interviews if this Broncos team can stay on this winning path, of course, going forward. But yeah, I mean, I think that both guys are deserving. Obviously, David Shaw has that collegiate background, and he was a former head coach. And VJ, I think VJ's first time around with the Broncos, I don't think he got a fair shake, and I think that he deserves that second opportunity to go and be head coach somewhere, and be able to hire his own staff, be able to have more of a say with personnel with a different team. He didn't get that opportunity here in Denver the first time around when he was head coach. And again, I mean, this goes to say as well, if VJ moves on, which again, I don't know if VJ will move on this offseason or even David Shaw. I expect them to get interviews and whatnot, but I don't know if they'll get hired away exactly. Jim Leonard with the Broncos obviously hired him this past offseason. He'll be the guy. I think that he would be the guy that would step in for VJ as a DC, as a defensive coordinator, if VJ ended up leaving. And the last quote on this, or last little point on this with VJ, the Broncos would also get 2 third-round pick compensation back for VJ if he left.
That is true. That is true. Scott's in agreement. If VJ goes, Leonard will step up. And that I think that is a little bit of an expectation. My thoughts on both of these. One, I'm kind of in agreement with Albert. I think that some guys you've seen where they're just better coordinators, than they are head coaches. It seemed like VJ was swimming. Now, maybe, second time around, that's different. It's a lot to put on a guy's plate for his first job as it is. And it's not like the organization was in steady hands and in a great place when VJ was coaching. So maybe that second time around is better for VJ, but man, he seems like a great coordinator. And I'm just reminded of the way he kind of felt lost as a head coach at times. Now, when it comes to David Shaw, like I said, I respect the heck out of David Shaw, and obviously the Broncos do, and a few other teams. But that being said, across the board with both VJ and with David Shaw, I'm hoping this ownership group does the right thing, has the right discussions. Whatever needs to happen from a compensation standpoint is done, because I think these are 2 key pieces for the Denver Broncos that I would like to see together for at least another year or 2 and see what's possible, because I think we're building something. And I think the ownership and the coaching staff and the front office, I hope and they feel like that's true, and they're able to keep this together at least for one more year. Run it back. But that's my thought. That's my thoughts. 2 deserving guys. If VJ walks out and he gets that other next opportunity, I'm going to be behind him. I'm going to be supporting him. But boy, I'd sure like to have these guys, back in, Broncos facilities for the next year. By far.
Yeah, and I think it's one thing to say, though. Sean Payton also did mention when he was asked about it during one of his his press conferences, he said that he does expect Vance Joseph to get another head coaching job, and he said he's very deserving of it. His players play hard for him, and I think there's something to say about that also, because Dan Quinn, we all obviously know what he did in Atlanta, getting them to that Super Bowl against the Patriots. He obviously got a DC job with the Cowboys, but he's turned it around, and look what he's doing in Washington, and he's a defensive coordinator. So I do think there's something to where I understand, some may think he's a better defensive coordinator, but man, I think Vance I think he deserves another opportunity and a fair opportunity to do what he needs to do, because I think you can learn something your first time around being a head coach.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that you can be better for that. And I expect Vance Joseph to be better, a better head coach, obviously being what he went through his first time around as head coach with the Broncos. I expect him to be better going forward because of it, if he does indeed get another head coaching job. I'm not sure it happens this offseason, but if this defense performs at another high level going into next season, I think he'll be a hot commodity out there for teams to possibly hire away.
I agree completely.
Go ahead. And it would be smarter for VJ to stay another year under the belt, under the supervision of a Sean Payton, where he can learn better from a head coach like Sean Payton. And I think that will help VJ with his next gig as well. And I think it would just be better for VJ to say just one more year, have one more year of Sean Payton under the belt, and then take it up to a new level.
Well, and I do think that VJ will be back if he doesn't get a head coaching job. This is just if he gets promoted and goes somewhere else. the Broncos aren't going to block that, nor should they. They should allow him to go to another organization and get another opportunity. So that BJ will be back unless he gets a head coaching job somewhere else.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And yeah, you don't want to be the organization that's blocking a head coach from opportunity for somebody. You know, those opportunities are rare. They're tough to come by, and you don't want to stand in the way of what you developed. Quite honestly, because it has been a development under this ownership group, under this head coach of even one Vance Joseph. He didn't come in as a finished product. I think he's been helped along the way. I'm excited to see what comes of all that, because I have positive feelings that we'll be able to kind of run it back a little bit. You know, that being said, I think I've said that a million times. That being said, but I'm going to go ahead and get that out of my vocabulary. That's my of the night.
There you go.
So
that being said,
we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna have to get out of here pretty soon, gentlemen. But I love the way this season turned out. I love that I was proven wrong a little bit. That Trevor was proven wrong a little bit. That that this team, this culture, this orange and blue has come together. And just became a real team this season, man. It, like I said, something special to begin, and something special that will be continuing down the line. As now we're talking about playoffs, gentlemen, and man, it's just crazy to me that I've heard podcast after podcast saying, "Well, we weren't here, or this wasn't even a thing the last time the Denver Broncos were in the playoffs, man," and now we get to cover it. So we got to get some goodbyes in. I'm going to start with Albert. I'm going to go to Trevor. I'm going to say my final goodbyes. Albert, it's been an amazing show, but we do need to wrap it up, sir.
Yeah, I think so too. The next game, and this is my prediction, it will be a win for the Broncos, and it will be, instead of a 9.5 points for the Bills, because that is what everybody is predicting, the Broncos will score 9.5 points more than the Bills. That is my prediction. It's going to be something like 24-13 or something like that. So for the Broncos, because they will be able to stop Josh Allen. This defense can do it, and we have seen it before. They have done it last year with a lesser team, and they should be able to do it again. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun game to watch, and I'm very excited because most likely I can see most of the games live. I will not be able to participate in after the game show, but most of the game I will be able to see. And I also want to thank Paul, Scott, Ernie, Patrick, Michael, Kenny, Phil, Graham, Pearl, Michelle, Travis, and of course David Papa Bear McElrath, who is new. Kurt, I saw a Mike Golden, who was new for me. Bicky Bronco and Lux Ace. Those are some new names I have not seen before. Welcome to the posse, and I hope you will be there for a long time, because we are going to be here for a long time. And then also Mark Lawrence with his prediction. Thank you for all being there, guys, because it makes our lives so much easier. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for recognizing the posse, Albert. Thank you for an amazing show. But I gotta say, let Trevor get in his goodbyes here before we get out of here. Trevor.
Yeah, I mean, a great show, guys, and the audience was fantastic. You guys are amazing as always. This is why we do this show. I mean, just the participation you guys have, liking, sharing, subscribing, and just being a part of the posse is amazing. Roundup royalty is amazing, and we love having you guys regardless. So whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact. So thank you to everybody that joined in to the chat, and thank you for everybody that's watching after. So. Hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you back Friday. And as always, go Broncos.
Absolutely, buddy. It's been a fantastic show. It's been great breaking down this blowout victory that we had versus the Kansas City Chiefs, man. What a way to end the season. I know that a lot of people who are out there and like, oh, the Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't play to win. I know they didn't play some of their starters, but I went back there. I watched that game, man. That was a game that they were playing their hearts out. We just ended up beating them 38-0, and it put a lot of confidence in this team. Can't wait to go ahead and be talking about this team on Friday, matching up against the Buffalo Bills. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And as well as that, we go post-game, right after the game. Get your reaction, man. We're going to be there on Sunday as well for you. Don't forget that's going to be an early game, that 11 o'clock start Mountain Time rather than the 2 o'clock start. So we'll be watching an early game and getting then going post right after that, man. You guys have been amazing. From Michael Ronquillo that came in dropping stars, to Phil McLaughlin that came in dropping stars, from new names like Lux Ace that I remember right off the top of my head, and then all the amazing people that have been in here supporting us from short time to a long time. The Posse, you guys have been absolutely amazing all this season, and now we get to go postseason as well. So come along for the ride. Can't wait to saddle up and have a fantastic postseason with all y'all starting this Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But man, we need to get out of here. We've went a full hour, and it's been a fantastic ride with all y'all. So the way that we always do, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you keep your feet in the stirrups, or your good old cowboy boots. Keep your guns in the holsters, and of course, the Denver Broncos, the playoff Denver Broncos, in your heart. Until next time, until Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.